In today's video, I'm going to show you how to AI-proof your brand. Now, we're going to start by talking a little bit about what I actually mean when I say that. And then I'm going to walk you through the 4 core elements that I believe every brand needs in order to stay relevant and distinctive and with its head above water in this sea of AI-generated content that we all seem to be drowning in right now. There's also a free toolkit to go alongside the video. You can get that. I'll link that in the description below, so do check that out. And if you're new here, my name's Hugh. I've been helping small businesses and entrepreneurs build better brands for over 15 years now. Right, let's get straight into it, shall we? So what do I actually mean when I say AI-proof your brand? Well, I want to start by just saying this is not an anti-AI video. I've spoken about that before on this channel. I think AI is a great tool. I think there's a good way to use AI and a not so good way to use AI, particularly when we're talking about building brands. But what I am saying here is that I believe that, and I think it's unarguable if you take a look around, that the landscape in which we're asking our brands to operate in has fundamentally changed over the last few years, and it's changed incredibly quickly with the rise of AI. It's much harder to stay distinctive. It's much harder to hold attention. What was good enough 10 years ago no longer cuts it anymore. You know, we're at a point now, I think, where over half of all web content is written by AI. That landscape that we're asking our brands to stand out in and to cut through has never been noisier. But, and this is the good side, the upside of all this is that does create this incredible opportunity for us, because in amongst this incredibly noisy, automated landscape of generic content, if you can inject some true humanity into your brand, then all of a sudden you do start to rise above all of that noise and your brand does start to cut through. And like I said, this does present us with this incredible opportunity. So what I'm really talking about when I say AI proofing your brand is making sure that your brand has adapted to this new landscape, that we are bringing that level of humanity to our brands, which is going to help them cut through, stay relevant, and become standout brands against this backdrop and this sea of AI noise. So let's talk about the first element that I believe is crucial for any brand in today's landscape, and that's authenticity. I recently made a whole video about authenticity, and I'll link that above in case you're interested. But the key point is this: true authenticity is by definition something which AIs can't do. So if you can bring true authenticity into your brand, then all of that inauthentic, generic AI content immediately starts to fade into the background and you will stand out. But the question is, how do we bring authenticity into our brands? Well, the first thing we need to do is dial in exactly what it is that makes us truly unique. What are the things that we as a brand can say which none of our competitors can? And you know, this might be to do with a unique origin story. Why did you start the business in the first place? Maybe it's more to do with an area that you are unwilling to compromise in, but your competitors have no issue compromising in. What's the things that really only you can say? And when you're close to a business, it can be quite difficult to tease these out, particularly when you're potentially bogged down in the day-to-day running of the business. So in the toolkit, I've included a list of reflective prompts, which hopefully can help you really begin to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of your business, of your brand, and really try and dial in what it is that only you can say. And the second area that I want to look at here is clarity. True clarity is something which is becoming rarer and rarer in brand and marketing. Everybody's falling over themselves to leverage AI, and the net result is that brand and marketing messages are all starting to sound very, very similar and very, very generic. And I think that you can see that a mile off once you start looking. So when you bring real clarity to the table, you will cut through some of that noise. You can't help but cut through with real clarity. So the question becomes, well, how do I get that clarity in the first place? And we do that by being very sure about who we are as a brand and why people should care. And a really simple way of getting clarity on that point is to fill in the blanks in this sentence. We exist too, and our customers should choose us over our competitors because. Now, this is a really tiny exercise, but you'd be surprised how helpful it can be. And once you've got that yardstick in place, once you know what your messaging, the thread that your messaging needs to have, you'd be surprised how much that clarity compounds over time. And all of a sudden you become known for the right reasons. Your messaging carries a clarity that your competitor's messaging doesn't. And that gets noticed. That will help you to stand out. Now, if you want to go into a bit more depth on this stuff, I did recently make a video on brand positioning, which I'll link above. That goes into this in a little bit more detail. There are a few more in-depth exercises, but fundamentally, just filling out the blanks in this really simple statement can get you a really long way in getting that clarity. And do check out the toolkit, because there is a simple template in there that you can use, fill in the blanks and start to get some real clarity into your brand. Now, the next core element that I think is crucial in this AI dominated world is emotional connection. Before we get into this one, guys, I've got a really quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying this or finding it useful, then please do consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel out. Okay, so emotional connection. I actually think this one transcends branding and is actually just about being human. I think people are starved of emotional connection in today's world because of the way we now communicate, because of AI, because of screens, because of post-pandemic world. I think people are genuinely looking for those small moments where they feel emotionally connected. And if your brand can bring some of that emotional resonance to the table, then we will be remembered. Your brand will stand out. But how do we actually do that? Well, we've already spoken a little bit about trying to tease out the traits which make us unique as a brand. Well, now it's about expressing those traits, and we don't have to start big here. We don't have to be thinking, oh, big campaigns and even, website copy and packaging. We can start smaller than that. We can start building in these small moments of emotional connection throughout our brand. And it might be something as small as, a handwritten thank you note that goes into an order. It might be a welcome email, a really warm welcome email that people get when they sign up to your mailing list. So there's lots of these touch points where we can start to inject some of that emotional resonance. And if we do that in enough places, it will compound, and all of a sudden the fabric of our brand starts to feel much more human and much more emotionally resonant. And let's just say, as an example, that we identified initially, we've been through some of the exercises and we've gone, right, okay, one of the things that makes us truly unique, one of the things we think that makes us unique about as a brand, is that we really do care about our customers. We started our brand in order to help people, and that is what we're really passionate about, and that is where our true uniqueness lies. Well, how might we bring that feeling of care and warmth to the table? Well, maybe we can start to do that in places as small as order confirmation emails. Instead of saying, thanks for your order, we might say, thank you for trusting us with your order. We'll take good care of it. Something like that. And it seems like a really tiny thing. But as I've said before in this video, when you compound, when these small things add up, it changes the fabric and the feel of the brand. And all of a sudden you start to feel more emotionally resonant and more human. And people connect to that. And people remember you. And people want to buy from you. People want to do business with you because of the way it makes them feel when they do. And the final piece of the puzzle here in all of this is consistency. And I'm not talking, when I talk about consistency, about using the same fonts or colors everywhere. I've made a video previously about why I think brand guidelines are a waste of time. I'll link that above. I'm talking about a deeper consistency that comes from continuing to refer back to your brand strategy. And something I've noticed over the years is that while people are engaged in the process of branding, they are really, really good at questioning whether something is on brand. Does that feel right? Is that representative of the kind of brand we want to be? And then as the brand launches, they stop engaging with some of that brand strategy work, and you can see it and you can tell. And the really, really good brands are the ones that stay on brand and stay consistent with their messaging are the ones who are referencing that early brand strategy work. So all you've really got to do here is continue to think about your brand as you did when you were building it. Carry on engaging with it on that level and you won't go far wrong. And in the toolkit, I've created a checklist that you can use. So whenever you're creating any sort of public facing piece of communication, whether that be a landing page or some new web copy or social media posts, and you can go through the checklist, and if you can answer yes to most of those questions, then you're probably good to go. If not, then you need to refine until you can. And that way we can start to really get real, true brand consistency into everything that we put out there. So do check out the toolkit, and there you have it. There's 4 key elements I believe every brand needs going forward in this AI dominated world. If you want to dive a little bit deeper, then do check out this video that's up on screen now. This is what YouTube has decided is most relevant for you. So check that out and I'll see you over there.